Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is David with the brand new, never before heard, never before seen, I guess you can't see me, can you? MBLEx Test Prep Podcast. This podcast is dedicated to all of those students out there who are preparing to take the Massage and Bodywork Licensing Exam, or MBLEx for short. I know it's a really daunting task passing that test, but hopefully we can make it a little bit easier for you. So how this podcast works is I haven't really decided how many times a week I'm going to release a podcast. At least once a week I will release a podcast where I discuss some aspect of the MBLEx, whether it be something massage therapy related or business related, anatomy and physiology, pathology, kinesiology, lots of different things that I could possibly cover in a given podcast. These are going to be short form podcasts. I can't see myself talking for more than about half an hour. I'm aiming for about the 10 to 15 minute range, so really short, bite-sized morsel of information that'll help you hopefully prepare and learn this information a little bit better and pass your MBLEx. Before I begin with our lesson, I need to mention that I do have study guides available. These study guides you can find at my website, MBLExtestprep.com, under the study guides section. So I have 3 main study guides. I have one that's dedicated towards the MBLEx. I have another that has 10 MBLEx practice tests and pre-made flashcards. All you have to do is cut them out of the book. Then you have flashcards already made. I'm all about efficiency and effectiveness. So that's definitely the way to go if you're looking to save some time and some money. You don't have to go to the store and buy index cards. Flashcards are already made. And it gives you 10 practice tests. 10! That's at least 7 more than any other practice test book out there. So definitely look into that. I do have another one. It's called Kinesiology Made Easy. So if you need to learn the muscles, the bones, the bony landmarks, muscle actions, stuff like that, that is the book for you. It's not very long. Like I said, Kinesiology Made Easy. I try to make it as easy as possible for you. So all 3 of those books, you can find them on my website, MBLExtestprep.com. Make sure you go there, check everything out. Let me know what you think. If you have ordered any of those books, and I won't do this all the time, I promise, but I do ask, if you have ordered any of my books and you do find them useful, please consider leaving a review of them on Amazon.com for me. I believe Amazon is the only place you can get these books anyway, so reviews go a long way towards helping me make a living and providing for my family. I've got a wife and son at home, and I got another child on the way. So if you could take, a couple minutes out of your day to leave a review, let me know what you think of the book on Amazon, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. All right, so this introductory podcast, I know it's a little rough around the edges right now. I will have an intro theme at some point, if I don't already have one attached to this, and I will have some bumper music between segments. But this very first podcast, what I want to do is I want to kind of introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me, so you know who I am and where I'm coming from, so you can rest assured that I know what I'm talking about. I started massage therapy school back in 2002. The school that I went to, it wasn't a quick program where you're done in a few months, 9 or 10 months. I went to a school that was split up into semesters, so it took me 2.5 years to finish the massage therapy program. Back then, in high school, I wasn't necessarily the best student. It's not that I didn't know the information. I just didn't go to class all the time, and I didn't do my homework all the time. So once I hit college, once I hit massage school, I decided that was going to change. I wasn't going to be that person anymore. So I actually did pretty well in massage school. Back then in 2005, I live in Reno, Nevada. State of Nevada didn't have a statewide massage board yet. It was only split up by cities or counties, depending where you were. Since I'm in Reno, we had to take a City of Reno massage therapy test. There was a City of Reno massage board who developed this test, and we had to take that. It was on paper and everything. I did really well on that. I was among the first couple people done with the test, and I scored really high. So I did, awesome with that. So after I got licensed in Nevada, City of Reno anyway, I started working at a couple spas around town, which I won't necessarily name. First place I did work at is closed. However, it was called the Advanced Bodywork Center. One of my old instructors owned that place, and she hired me right out of school to work there. So I worked there for a little bit. It wasn't as busy as I thought it would be, so I ended up going to one of the resorts here in town, one of the downtown casinos with a spa in there, and that's where I kind of learned how to manage myself in a business setting. And I know, in school they tell you should do this and you should do this and you should do this and you should do this. Unfortunately, there's nothing that really prepares you like going out and doing it. So went out and did it for a few years, worked at that place, moved on after a few years, worked at another resort, then moved over to kind of a smaller spa in town. I don't even know what you would call it. A smaller massage establishment, locally owned. Worked there for a bit. Then I got a job working at another resort downtown with my wife, who was actually a massage therapist as well. We actually met in massage school. When I moved here, when I was 12 years old from Colorado, we actually lived on the same street, and we didn't know each other then. We went to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school together, and we didn't know each other then. It was only until we went to massage school that we finally met. So kind of a weird story, huh? So after I got the job there, working with my wife, her name's Amanda, by the way. So I got the job working with Amanda, spent about a year and a half there. Then that place closed, which was, really exciting. Both of us working there, and then all of a sudden, both of us out of a job. So I had to start looking for a job. So I found a job at a local salon. I was doing massage there. I was their only massage therapist. Amanda got a job there too shortly after I did. I got a job at Massage Envy. I'm willing to work at Massage Envy, so there's nothing wrong with working at Massage Envy. They don't, if you're fresh out of school, Massage Envy is a perfect place for you. If you just need a few hours a week, Massage Envy is a perfect place. So don't shun places that you don't think you want to work, because I actually enjoyed my time there. After Massage Envy, it just wasn't making enough to pay the bills. I'd only been there about a month, but I saw a job ad at a local massage school looking for massage therapy instructors. So I applied, and I think it was my third time applying at this place. For some reason, they didn't want me the first time, they didn't want me the second time, but as the old saying goes, third time's a charm. So I applied, even though Amanda told me there's no point, they're not going to call you back because they haven't yet. But they actually did. They called me back, and I came in, did a teaching demo where I actually taught a class, something. I think it was about herniated discs. I explained what herniated discs are to this class. And I was offered a job as an instructor, and they offered me either the main class where I taught every course, or the test preparation course. And back then it was the national exam for massage therapy licensure. It wasn't the MBLEx. So I decided, for me, it would be better if I did the test preparation course. And that kind of leads us to where we are today. I mean, if I didn't make that decision, I don't know where I would be, what I would be doing. So that one decision kind of changed my life for the better. So I spent about 5 years at that school, and we departed. I developed, back in 2013, I started developing a study guide. My original plan for this study guide was to offer it as an online course because I thought people would, like to do the subscription-based, 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, or 12-month subscription. Because everybody's got a computer now, everybody's got cell phones, and you can just use it whenever you want. Apparently that wasn't the case. I didn't have a single person buy the subscription until like 2 years after I made it. I'm sitting around in class one day, and my students are taking a practice test, because I always give my students practice tests, and that's something that we will be doing in this podcast. I will be asking test questions, so look forward to that. My students are taking practice tests. I get an email talking about publishing books, self-publishing books, and I think to myself, I've already got a study guide essentially made online. I could just compile all of the stuff I've got and then self-publish a book, an actual book. Because maybe, I don't know about you, but when I read anything, really, any sort of book, I like to have the book in my hand. I like to be able to feel it. It's much more immersive, interactive for me, and I get a lot more out of it, because I just don't like staring at screens all day, even though we're constantly staring at screens. You might even be staring at a screen right now while you're listening to me. So I decided to self-publish this book. I released it, not expecting anything to happen, and then people started buying it. I'm like, okay, this, even a couple $100 a month, like that's a killer deal. And then more people started buying it, and more people started buying it. So I developed another edition, a newer edition, the third edition, quote unquote third edition. There's a reason behind the third, whatever. You don't care. So I released that, and that was a super popular book. I made way more money doing that than I did at my regular job. So after a year of making, a certain amount where I felt comfortable enough to do so, I quit my job. I left work, and now that basically all I do is run MBLEx test prep. Back then it was massage test prep, because there was the national exam and the MBLEx. So massage test prep kind of enveloped both of those, but now that there's only for licensure, there's only the MBLEx. Now it's MBLEx test prep. So basically all I do now is work on MBLEx test prep and MBLEx test prep related things, such as this podcast, such as other books that I've written. Like I said, I've got the kinesiology book. I am in the middle of working on a pathology book. So if you like diseases and stuff, that will be coming out soon. I've done a medical assisting book, medical terminology book. I make videos. I do live streams and stuff like that on YouTube, so make sure you check those out once in a while. You can interact with me one-on-one. So basically that's my story as far as massage therapy goes. Here I am talking to you on a podcast now, and now my voice is in your ear. Like I can tell you anything. Hopefully you'll listen. Hopefully. So that's kind of where I am, where I come from with massage therapy. Now back in 2015, when the national exam stopped being the national exam, and the MBLEx was pretty much the only test you could take to get licensed in most states, I decided to take it. Like I said, back when I was in school, we didn't have to take the MBLEx or the national exam, so I didn't. But if I'm supposed to be teaching people how to pass these tests, I need to actually take the test to determine the best course of action to get people to pass. So I took the test. It was, I don't want to say it was difficult for me, because I know this stuff. It was just worded a little differently than I was used to. I was kind of used to the wording on the national exam, and MBLEx completely different test. But I passed it with a score of 797. I took my time. There was stuff on that test I'd never seen before. And I tell my students, I'm going to tell you right now, there is stuff on that test that you will have never seen before. And there's no amount of preparation you can do to ensure that you've seen absolutely everything. They have a test bank of, I would guess, about 3,000 questions. That's 3,000 questions covering tons of information. There's no way you could possibly know everything on that test. So when you get one of those questions, don't stress out. See, now I'm starting to get into that whole thing where I'm teaching you how to take this test. So I got a score of 797. The highest score possible was 900. Now they don't tell you what score you get if you pass. They don't think it's an important thing for you to know. I would always like to know what I got. All you need to know is 630. That's the score you need to get on the MBLEx to pass. So that's all you need. So if you pass, that means you got above 630. If you didn't, it'll tell you what your score was in the areas that you need to work on. So anyways, see, now I go off on tangents. I go off on tangents once in a while, and I apologize if I get a little loud. I'm Italian. It's what we do. So I go off on tangents. I apologize. I might do that once in a while. So just bear with me. The good stuff is coming. So that's kind of who I am, where I come from, and why I am offering you this podcast. I think it's a great way to interact with you as the student. It's a great way to prepare you for the test, and hopefully you get something out of it. So I will be recording more of these in the very near future, hopefully with bumper music, intro, outro music, make it a little more polished. If anybody has any suggestions on things they'd like to see in the podcast, on the podcast itself, what I can improve on, what you like about it, feel free to send me an email. massagetestprep@gmail.com is my email address. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MBLExTestPrep. What else? There's my website, MBLExTestPrep.com. You can send me an email through there, and I typically respond within a day. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. So be on the lookout for new editions of this podcast. Look forward to teaching you some fun information, and until next time.